Hey everybody, Jeff here. So I work with Forrest a lot on a lot of the video content here for RMSP TV, and today I wanted to go over what's in my sound bag. See, sound is 50%, maybe arguably if not more, than your film. I mean, if you have a visual, that's great, but if there's critical dialogue and you can't hear it or the sound is bad, that makes the experience pretty bad for your viewer. You could take any television show and you could turn the visual off. And so long as you can hear it and you have the dialogue, you generally know kind of what's going on in that scene. But the minute you turn the sound off and you only have visual of that, you really don't know what's going on. That's how important sound is. Myself, I do a lot of independent little video projects, commercial stuff, some weddings, things like that. And I have been able to, over time, kind of cater my sound kit to the kinds of projects that I work on. And so let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is the bag that I use for when I'm taking my video cameras out and doing any kind of projects. It can handle everything from recording up to 8 channels, 8 separate microphones basically, or signals. Right now I've only got 2 channels of wireless set up in the bag. There's room for 4. And essentially what I have here is I have a Sound Devices 442 mixer. And right now it's recording via a boom mic that's up above, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And I've got it hooked up right now. It's plugged in through AC power, through external power. It's taking this green cable coming in here is my boom mic that's right here that's picking up my sound. And I've got direct outs to channels 1 through 4 on my recorder in case I need that. In situations where I'm going to run all 8 channels, in those scenarios, depending upon what I'm doing, I might just bypass the 442 and just go right into this Zoom F8N, which is connected. Somebody might ask me, well, why would you have a mixer when you have a mixer on the F8N? And this is why. There's a number of clients that I have where I do live video conferences, and they want to talk into a microphone and have that broadcast to the room. And I can actually run that wireless microphone into my 442. It takes a recorded signal. I can run time code to my cameras and sync that back to the recorder. And then I can run a cable out of my 442 mixer to PA speakers in the room and adjust their volume with this knob right here as they're talking so that there's a comfortable volume for the people in the room, as well as a time code recorded signal of whatever's going into that microphone right to card. And that allows me a lot of flexibility in terms of should anything go wrong. I've had some scenarios, these Zoom recorders I think are great for the size and the money. Twice now I've had this happen to me where an SD card goes bad on the F4, the previous version of this, and it emits this high-pitched squealing sound in my headphones, and the recording freezes. And in that instance, I was filming, and I was running a boom mic into my 442 with a cable out to the camera, and the squealing was happening coming out of my headphones. And luckily, because I had a cable coming out of the 442 into the camera, recording the microphone to camera directly, I was able to save that particular shoot. Because the files that were being recorded to the card didn't even show up. The cards failed on me during that take before I had a chance at the end of that take to switch the cards out for a fresh set. But the take was saved because I was able to use what's called a breakaway cable, and it connects to the 442, and I can connect that right to my video camera. So that was a benefit right there. Allows me to use, I'm using the Deity Connect wireless system, which is awesome, and I have 2 available for 2 channels. Right now I have a cable that's coming out for time code that's running internal time code on the F8N right out to the camera that is filming me for this. When I don't have a direct time code cable running to camera, I can run those wirelessly using these time code systems ultra sync devices, which I'm able to either run internal time code and send it wirelessly through this device to my cameras with receivers on both of the cameras, or I can use this device to generate the time code, send that time code wirelessly to the other time code receivers, and jam that to my recorder. So it gives me some flexibility, it gives me some options. I also have a pair of these Sony MDR 7506 professional headphones, and they're sort of the industry standard stereo headphone for this kind of work. They have a nice flat response, they're not bass heavy, which is nice. And it also gives me the flexibility of running, in this scenario, I'm actually running my F8N off of this Ultracell battery that's off the side, and I can run my 442 off of a similar battery on the other side of the bag. So it gives me a lot of flexibility. So this is my bag setup. I've sort of been building it over the years based upon the kinds of video projects that I take on, and so far this has been handling everything that I do without a problem. So basically the heart of it is I have a Sound Devices 442 mixer right here, and this is not a recording device. It's not going to record the file, it's just mixing the sound. And what I have is I have direct outs from it going into channels 1 through 4 of a Zoom F8N. And this is a mixer plus recorder. So it's able, as you can see, it's recording my signal right now. And some people might say, well, why would you want to record, why would you want two mixers involved? And I would say I have some specific scenarios where I use this. I have a client who likes to film conferences that they put on for a large gathering of people, and they're speaking into a wireless handheld microphone. And I'm filming them. And if I were to try to film them with my 3-camera setup and edit all that footage and try to sync all the sound to that, it could be a little bit of a nightmare. But instead, I can put all of my cameras on timecode. I can run the wireless microphone receiver into the in port of my 442. It sends the direct out signal into my recorder, recording what they're saying into the microphone. But the best part is we have speakers set up in the room, and I can run a cable out of my mixer to the speaker, and I can adjust with my fader here the level of volume coming out of the speakers in the room. Because what happens is if I were to try to record the speakers themselves, that would be a decent backup. But in some situations, some of these conference rooms, they may have already a wireless setup that has speakers in the ceiling. And what can happen there is you can get kind of a weird echo. Whereas I'd rather have like the source as it's entering into the microphone, coming into my mixer, coming out to the speakers for the people in the room to hear that nicely. I don't have to worry about on a dynamic mic that sound because the speakers are ahead of them out front. But it's getting that nice signal right into my recorder, and I'm getting an attenuated track, and I'm able to run timecode to my cameras, and everything works out great. I also use the Deity wireless system, which is great, and I have my bag set up right now just for a 2-channel sort of interview situation, and there's room for 4 if I want that. And I also have, in this case, an Audix hypercardioid mic that I'm speaking into right now. That's what this green cable is coming into channel 1. I've got my headphones here, the Sony MDR7506. These are sort of the industry standard headphones for this type of work. They have a nice flat response. I'm able to power my Zoom F8N from this Ultracell battery that's on the side pocket here, and I'm able to power my 442 from a battery over on this side of the bag. And there's room in the front and the back. It's a porta-brace bag. It's great because I can then take my headphones and squash them down here and pop them into this little pouch, which is pretty nice. I've been on projects where, additionally, I like having this sort of backup because I can use what's called a breakaway cable. And I connect this cable into the 442, even though I'm getting a recording coming directly out of the device. And I can run this cable to the camera as a backup. I've had a scenario in the past on the Zoom F4 where I had a couple of bad SD cards in it. And I had my headphones plugged into the Zoom so I could hear the recording. And all of a sudden the card goes bad and it starts emitting this high-pitched squeal right during a performance, a take that's happening. And it's squealing in my ears, and I'm pulling my headphones back to get them off my ears because they're so loud and squealy. But that squeal's coming only from the F4 at the time. Unfortunately, the take on the cards was bad, but I was saved because I had the take recording from the breakaway cable right into the camera. So it gave me an opportunity to fix the problem by switching the cards out, put some new cards in. The take was saved because of that breakaway cable. So that's nice. It's a little cumbersome, a little bulky, but it's nice in scenarios where it gives me a sense of backup. Whereas if something goes wrong with this sort of lesser expensive Zoom recorder mixer, I still have my 442, which is this analog just beast, If I have to, I can kind of reconfigure cables and be able to send camera hops out to different cameras if I need to, connect Comtex and things like that. But a lot of the work that I'm doing is, interview type stuff, just a couple of channels, or live events where they need that sound to be broadcast into the room, but also a clean signal recorded with timecode for multiple camera recording. So this bag has served me well, this sort of setup. You could certainly get away with a lot less. You could get an F4 and just, if you only need 4 channels or less, and just do everything right on the one device. But my particular kinds of scenarios that I run into, I've decided that having the sound devices here has saved my butt a few times for particular types of jobs. This is an older unit. Certainly some of the newer sound devices and the MixPres and those series, they're really nice. They have really nice preamps in them. The 442 is, kind of a classic, same with the 552, and they also sound really, really good. I got this thing on eBay, and it's, like I said, it saved my butt a few times. All right, let's talk about microphones. When I'm doing any kind of outdoor work, anything that might be in high winds, I whip out this Rode NTG3 that's caged in the Zeppelin, and then I can also put on, because for whatever reason, I think people get a kick out of it. And I can also put on it what they call a dead cat. And I think that, they must have been getting some flack for the name, and they've started calling them like wombats, I think, things like that. But essentially, it's another layer of wind protection. And there's a comb that comes with it, and you can kind of get it combed out. And it helps to take the rumble of wind when you're doing outdoor shooting out. And it's basically a cage of wind protection. So you probably see these, in behind the scenes of movies and whatnot. A lot of professionals use the Sennheiser 416 shotgun mic, and I found the Rode NTG3 is pretty nice as well. It served me for the kinds of shoots that I've done outdoors. So that's what that looks like. And then up above me is a short little hypercardioid mic, the Audix HC. So I have all this equipment linked down below for you. And that's a hypercardioid mic, so it's designed better for, interior applications. I actually use it a lot for some of the musical stuff that I like to do as well. It's great for miking guitars and whatnot. And in situations where I'm using the boom mic, I need a boom. So this is a K-Tech. This is the K-Tech KE1110CC, and it's a great boom. I've used it a lot on various shoots, and when I'm not holding it for a take, I'm usually putting it on a C-stand using the boom holder. So that's a glimpse into some of the audio equipment I use on some of my video shoots. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you know what to do. Please hit subscribe down there or up there. Hit that little bell to be notified of future videos. And thank you to Canon for providing some of the equipment to make these videos possible. Thanks for watching.